You weren't racing, were you, chaps?
Of course not.
Tooned was really about bringing a friendly, younger face to both our drivers and our team to a new audience, a new group of fans that we wanted to be loyal and interested in McClaren.
We wanted to create something that felt quite fun, effectively, but was also cool. So we wanted to create caricatures of the guys, of Jensen and Lewis, and to be able to create new characters.
Well, it's no secret that kids love cartoons, and we thought that animation would be the perfect forum for us humanising and personalising, warming up both the team and the drivers.
The cartoon characters of Jensen and Lewis are extractions of their real characters. They're exaggerations of themselves, but the essence is of them.
When we started, we thought that this would be quite a simple little show, that something you just have on an iPhone would be two talking heads of Jensen and Lewis. But the more we got into it, the more it became more ambitious and more crazy.
Yeah, I must say, I think I look like a big guy from Incredibles.
We went through a number of iterations of what these characters would or could look like.
What the hell's my walk?
We based it on a cheetah.
Unanimously, we all sort of fell in love with this look. It just seems very appealing. It's very appealing, particularly for comedy. It lends itself well to comedy.
We quite like the idea that the characters almost felt like they were little vinyl toys or something like that. You're in a world where these little figures were moving around. The kind of things you could almost feel like you could hold them in your hands and sort of move them around. That was the kind of the way that the characters seemed.
Pretty straightforward affair today, just running through a few safety features.
The style of animation is kind of determined by something that suits McClaren. It had to be quite clean, and it had to be quite smooth, and it had to seem quite high-tech.
The look and style of the show really had to be reflective of what we are in reality. Architecturally what we are, but also culturally what we are as well. And of course, having some fun with that was really central to the whole premise.
Konnichiwa, chaps. What do you think of the new facilities?
Is there really a secret underground test track? Well, that'd be telling, wouldn't it?
Yeah, McClaren have given us an awful lot of access to their headquarters. We've been down there an awful lot. It's the cleanest building I've ever been in, and they make cars, which have oil in them.
Coming up with the storylines is really the most fun part. It's all about sitting in a room, talking ideas through, being inspired by some of the things that we see and read every day, and then putting them in the context of a cartoon.
They generally all revolve around the professor, who is the sort of representative of McClaren.
You call this racing?
I call it test racing. You can race, and I can test. Perfect.
And then other characters sort of turn up at odd times for particular purposes, whether it be real-life people like Mika Häkkinen, who's an ex-world champion.
You know, Mika, you used to be a great driver.
Okay, I'm coming out of retirement.
Or other fictional characters like Baron von Richtmacher, who's an evil nemesis of the professor.
The professor's nemesis,
yes,
from his past. His past as a racing driver.
Episode 5.
My German rival was making me look like an idiot.
The general working process is that we will sit around a table with some other writers and with producers, and we'll try and come up with funny ideas. Generally, we have quite a lot of funny ideas, stupid ideas.
Yeah.
We then present those to McClaren and Ron Dennis, the top brass,
tend to act them out in front of Ron Dennis, which is quite an
Embarrassing.
undertaking. It's embarrassing.
But it's also amusing. Generally, some of the ideas get through that process. Fortunately, we have enough ideas that it doesn't matter if we
some
can
of them fall
afford.
by the wayside.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then we just develop those up into animatics, which is drawn versions of the stories. And then those in turn become layouts, and
then
they
you're
go
into
through the whole
animation.
animation process.
The motivational assistant automatically senses when you need pepping up.
Driver energy levels low. Dispensing nourishment.
That needs a little work.
Everything within the building, all the high-tech stuff, all the gadgetry, all the technology, we're doing it because we think it's cool and we think it's funny, but actually that is at the heart of McClaren.
We just enjoyed more and more expanding the world of the characters, and we ended up with not just the whole of the McClaren Technology Centre recreated in a digital cartoon form,
But also large parts of Woking.
Cheeseburger, please. Thanks.
anything that we could imagine started to become possible, really because we're here at Framestore. It's somewhere where very insane and ambitious ideas can actually be realised.
Yes.
The designers of our 12C car were absolutely thrilled to see it in its cartoon version. These are people who live and breathe McClaren every day and live and breathe the precision of that car, but to then poke some fun at that car too has been really rewarding for them. Framestore have been our ultimate partners on this project. Oscar-winning CGI effects for the likes of Avatar, for the likes of Harry Potter. Working with them has been an inspiration for us.
The process is very much the creative first, coming up with the ideas, writing it, getting an edit down from a storyboard that makes sense, that's locked effectively. That's our show. And then from then we go into full production where it's animated and lighting, rendering, compositing, all put together. And once we start getting into the animation, a lot of the animators are adding a lot of their own jokes, a lot of creative ideas going in at that point, which is brilliant. That's very rewarding to see. And even the guys who are doing the look work and all the posters you see on walls and stuff, there's lots and lots of little jokes in there.
This is what we technicians call a graph.
The biggest challenge was just how fast we had to turn these things out. This is full CG animation done at full res HD.
I think each episode effectively takes about 10 weeks from beginning to end. Definitely one of the biggest challenges has been time. The guys are working extremely long hours and working very hard, and there has been one occasion where I've had to bring my then 7-month-old daughter in for a very serious meeting, which she actually added more than the directors, it's got to be said.
Doing full CG animation is quite a labour-intensive activity, and it's not actually, while the end result is a lot of fun, the actual process is it's just hard work. So we try quite hard to
Make the process fun, really.
Make the process fun for the team. We did one episode which was a full dance routine, a Bollywood dance routine, and we got the whole crew to dance that one for real to the music, which was
quite entertaining.
Amusing to us. 3, 2, 1. Hey! Okay, without the chuckling at the end. Good. Again, ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey! Jai! Ho!
Working with McClaren has been brilliant. It's quite interesting to work with people who aspire to quality as much as we do. They completely love the show, they completely get it, they're inputting a lot. Ron Dennis himself is putting in a lot of ideas.
How many times do I have to tell you, Em? Attention to detail.
Actually,
and then you pause and then say, but this might work out rather well.
You know, they're all funny guys. I've met a lot of them down there and they're brilliant. Voice records have been really interesting, actually. The very first one we did, nobody knew what it was, we hadn't created anything yet.
I think it's fair to say that our drivers wondered what on earth it was that we were asking them to do when we first took them into the recording studio.
People were just, reading a script off a page.
But after doing a couple of episodes, seeing the scripts, seeing the quality of the production, and then having the episodes played back to them, they really started to embrace the concept.
They started to laugh, they started to get it.
At the beginning, when we wrote the show, we weren't sure what Jensen and Lewis would make of it. And obviously we came to the first voice records, and
they didn't know anything about it at that point. They were just presented with a couple of scripts, and they started reading through them.
And fortunately for us, they laughed. They thought they were very funny, and they got into it.
Great, great. Just try one 5% faster, but if possible. But that was great.
They knew what the world was, they knew what their character was.
Alexander Armstrong was an inspired piece of casting by Framestore for the character of Professor M.
Do be gentle with it, Lewis. This may be the finest piece of engineering ever produced by McClaren.
He saw nothing more than dry words on a page and really saw what M could be. And the success of how he's brought him to life has been a key part of what the series is today.
I love this bit. Yes, go on, my son. Go on, my son. Go on, my son.
Jensen and Lewis the same, continually getting better and better.
Really? So does that have a limiter on it too?
What's very interesting about Jensen and Lewis is they start to compete with each other about which one of them is best, and I'm assuming that's because they're naturally competitive individuals.
Yeah, nice race, man.
Got anything else we can test?
Do that again. Yeah, nice race, man.
Got anything else we can test?
Today I'm going to show you the future of Formula One.
What, robot drivers? I am Jensen Roboton.
Golly, I've been talking for hours. Do say if you want a break. No? Good lad.
Am I pleased with the outcome? Yes, very much so.
Here we have James Hunt's original jockstrap.
The response has been actually excellent.
First series, 12 episodes in, and it's been an amazing success. Personally, one of the things I love doing is reading the comments on YouTube, the comments on Twitter.
Some of them are highly amusing, and some of them are actually quite constructive. And we've actually taken ideas from the comments. We've actually made changes to future episodes based on what people have said.
It's completely exceeded expectations in terms of what we set out to make right at the beginning. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. And entirely down to the team that we have making it. They're very talented, very dedicated individuals who've come together and produced something absolutely fantastic.